Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're here for another Monday mini-sode.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting one, Mike.
It's one you've got a lot of experience with.
No, actually not that much, but I wanted to share this because this is something that it's just a terrible feeling. It's the whole, oh no, I'm out of stock. What do I do?
Yeah. Or I can't find this item. I don't have this item, something like that. So let us know in the comments below. Like nobody wants to bash themselves. But has this happened to you? Have you ever tried to list something or tried to sell something, it sells, and the next thing you know, maybe you had like quantity 5 and you're like, wait a minute, where I thought, oh no. And then you've got to do that awkward conversation.
And it's
with the
usually
buyer.
the cheap item, right? It's not like the $100 item. It's like the $5 item.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to get a negative mark on my account for something so small. It's and that pit in your gut. So let us know, what was it like for you? Has it ever happened to you? And if it's never happened to you before, in the comments below right now, just put, nope, I'm amazing.
I'm perfect.
Never happened. Yeah.
All right, but smash that like button before you hear the rest of this episode. So a few things we want to talk about here real quick, because this is a mini-sode. First of all, is just list carefully. A lot of the issues that come up with the out of stock is because something's missed. So for example, when I do a lot of retail arbitrage, I'll pick up, let's say 10 or 20 of an item, and I'll, for whatever reason, I might put the incorrect amount, right? I thought I picked up 20 and I'll put 20, but in actuality, I only picked up 19.
Yeah. Just checking those quantities, or another example that happened with us, we did where we bought 2 different puzzles, right? And we bundled some of them and we did some individually. So then the count gets a little difficult if you're not like actually stacking them, like here are the bundled ones, but when you're just like, oh, I've got 15 of these and I've got 8 of these, so let's do 5 bundles, and so that leaves it. And your chances of missing one of them goes up, right? Of like, oh, wait a minute, there was only 3 of those, not 4 of those of that other. Yeah. So you definitely be very careful. Double check your quantity before you list. Little things like that can make a big difference. Or even if you're copying a post, that could happen too.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Even your own sell similar. Yeah. Like I've had it before where it said I had quantity like 10. I only had 1. Yeah. I was like, oh no. Yeah.
Does the quantity copy over from a post?
It does. It does. I've had, for example, I used to sell a lot of Nike stuff. I'd have like 5 or something, and then I would sell similar, and I only had 1 that I bought, but I wanted to use that sell similar, listing, and it still kept the quantity 5 over.
Maybe it only does it if it's your own. I don't know if it would keep it from somebody else's.
Possibly, that'd be an interesting. Possibly, but I know it was my own because I've had that happen to me a few times. I was selling a lot of like Nike shoes, and luckily I caught it. Mm-hmm. And now I always check. So be careful there. Okay, now this one is something I've lately been doing the last 3 months, and it's cut down my out of stock a lot. And it's the don't automatically relist an item when it's returned. Mm. Right. So usually it gives you that option of like automatically relist item. Mm-hmm. And what I find is that whenever I do that, like I for whatever reason, I may have forgot that I automatically relisted it, or during that time I might have had like a similar item, like quantity. And so I relisted it again. Whatever reason, I just manually will do the relist. Mm. Just because I find that then I can track it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, you need to, either way, you need to have a consistent operating procedure, right? Standard operating procedure where every time I get an item, I'm manually doing it, or I'm only doing the automatic relist and I'm relying solely on that. You got to do like one or the other.
Yeah, it can't be both.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because that's where the mistakes happen, is when it's like sometimes you do one, sometimes you do the other, then you forget which one you did. And unless you're being very meticulous and again, going back and double checking, and you're kind of just trying to run on autopilot. So that's a good reason why you need to have very just consistency. You always do it one way or the other. That way your chances of mistake go significantly down.
And it's the same thing applies to like when an item does not sell, right? You could do the automatic relist, you cancel this order relist, or you could just manually relist it, right? And again, with cross posting, it's the same thing. Cross posting, same thing happens where, you might automatically do it through an app. Whether it be through Vendu, whether it be through, List Perfectly or whatever, you got to make sure that you're consistent. I think that's a better way to say it than I was trying to say it. Just do it the one way each single time so you don't fall into that trap. So what about this? What do you do?
Next one is you always want to communicate with the buyer. You want to be the first person to communicate right away, and you want to admit to the mistake without putting all of the blame on yourself. And what I mean by that is we did the negotiating book, right? Never split the difference. And one of the skills, one of the things he put in there was to kind of degrade yourself first. Like if you go into a meeting and you're like, I know I'm a total jerk. So, and then but I've got to tell you this, then it's hard for them to be like, man, this guy's a jerk, right? Because you're kind of almost disarming them with that. So if you're the first one to come and you let them know right away, I'm so sorry about this. For whatever reason, there was a mistake in the inventory. And you let them know first right away, and you don't like sit there, let it sit a day or two. Then you're going to have issues. Why didn't you tell me that earlier? Why didn't you? Why are you just now telling me this? It's been 24 hours since I bought it. That's a good reason why, you should, when something sells, you should be checking it quickly and making sure, even if you're not going to package it and ship it right away, but double check. Cause there's been times something sold and my wife and I are like, I don't know where that's located. Like there's no custom SKU on this. Like we're going to have to go look for that. And so one of the first things we'll do, we're not going to say like, oh, this doesn't have to go out until tomorrow. So we'll go down tomorrow night and look for it. It's like, let's go look for it. Make sure we know where it's at. That way we can get it out. Cause if we're stuck looking for it even, then it could be late on shipping and then you have issues. So you want to be able to communicate right away to that customer and disarm them as much as you can.
Now, building on what Mike said, I also mentioned the idea of the last thing you want to do is hit that out of stock option for canceling the order, because that will hurt your metrics. Of all the items on there, there's only one thing that would hurt your metrics more than that one is case closed without seller resolution. Right. But the out of stock option just hurts. I've seen my sales slow down. A lot of people say their sales slow down. So what do? Even if your item is going to be late shipping, you're better off waiting for the buyer to contact you than just automatically putting the out of stock option. And this is how you can prevent that. So offer a replacement or a cancellation, right? Always give the buyer the option. So for example, yesterday I sold a Harley shirt. And the Harley shirt on my listing said XL. But on my item specifics and on my item description, it was a medium. And I looked at my pictures and sure enough, the shirt was a medium. So I'm like, what do I do? Right? I could automatically go out of stock, cancel, because I don't have extra large. I have a medium. Or what I did is I contacted the buyer and said, hey, listen, unfortunately, I listed this as an XL, but if you can see in the pictures, description, item specifics, it's a medium. I do have another Harley shirt that's very similar. That is a medium that I could send you instead, or I can cancel the transaction. And so the buyer got back to me. He's like, hey, listen, I really wanted that shirt. I'm sorry, but please cancel. And that's it, right? I don't have the issue anymore.
Yeah. When you offer that's the key is you want to offer something and then or cancel. Because then when they ask for that cancel, then you get to select customer requested cancel. Right?
Correct. Yeah. And that saves your metrics. Like it doesn't count against you. Now, let's say you don't have a replacement. Then you can offer, hey, I can sell you anything in my store for 10% off, 15% off, 20% off, or I can cancel. Right? That's one way you could do it too. I do that all the time. Right? But again, that gives the individual options and it allows you to click buyer, asked to cancel the order. Now, the reason you guys are, the reason I say this, and I'm sure there's questions that some of you guys are asking is, Orlando, couldn't I just put buyer asked to cancel? Right? Can I just, I don't even need to talk to the buyer. I don't need to say anything and eBay won't catch it. Yeah, you could. I'm not saying you can't.
And maybe they won't catch it.
And that's where the issue is. I know one reseller that option wasn't that. Yeah, well, there was one reseller out there that option got removed for them. They couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, they took advantage of it.
I guess so. And remember with algorithms, right? Things can get caught. Or what if you get that one buyer that says, I never wanted to cancel this. This person didn't have the item in stock and they contact eBay. You don't want to be in that place. So, all right. And this last one, this is a new one. Have you sent out coupons yet?
No, I still haven't got on the coupon game. I don't know. I'm not sold yet.
All right. So I always follow up these with a 20% off coupon. And I see a lot of people now like, all right, we're going to go to Orlando's store and we're going to find it. And we're going to see if there's anything he has that he probably is out of stock. But
that's not going to work.
I know. But I always follow up with the 20% coupon after and apologize for what happened, just so I can do everything I can to avoid any kind of negative feedback, any kind of, ill will, just so they know that, hey, they're valued. They're always welcome to come back to the store. And so I always follow up with a coupon. And it depends how bad the situation is. Generally, my rule of thumb is 10 to 20%. I won't go more, but it all depends on the scenario. So hopefully all these ideas here help you to prevent yourself from getting in a bad place by having your item out of stock. So make sure you're listening carefully. Make sure you're consistent in how you are auto relisting things, whether it's from a cancellation or a return. Communicate with your buyer as soon as possible. Offer a replacement or a cancellation. And last of all, always follow up with some way, to just say, hey, thank you for your business anyways. Here's a coupon. With that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling late.
Peace.